Okay, let's dive straight into this explainer and see exactly how we can transform your role from an exhausted content creator into a strategic architect of learning. Look, if you're an English teacher, you already know the daily grind. You're constantly juggling lesson planning, grading, and just endless paperwork. Late-night lesson prep shouldn't be consuming hours you simply don't have. So today, we're going to build a highly practical, step-by-step blueprint to help you reclaim your time using AI to plan a complete 45-minute lesson.
Because here's a number that should absolutely get your attention right away: 10. Teaching is exhausting, but teachers who are actively using AI to plan their lessons are reporting giving themselves back a staggering 10 hours a week. Just think about that for a second. That is literally an entire working day handed right back to you. It frees you up to focus on real-time pacing, having those formative conversations, and actually connecting with your students.
But let's get one thing crystal clear right out of the gate. AI cannot and will not replace teacher lesson planning. It completely lacks contextual knowledge and relationship awareness. Instead, think of AI lesson planning tools as your collaborative assistant. It's there to draft your outlines and scaffold activities, leaving your professional judgment and your unique teaching style firmly in the driver's seat.
So, here is our blueprint for today's explainer. Section 1, your new planning assistant. 2, setting objectives and standards. 3, designing warm-ups and activities. 4, differentiating for every learner. 5, assessment and teacher reflection. And finally, 6, the human in the loop.
Let's start right off with Section 1, your new planning assistant and mastering the mega prompt. To get those 10 hours back, we first need to learn exactly how to talk to this new AI assistant of ours.
The secret to avoiding generic, unhelpful AI outputs is actually something called the mega prompt. It's basically a structured set of instructions built around 4 crucial elements. First up, the role. You have to tell the AI who it is, like, say, an experienced K-12 curriculum specialist. Second, the task. What exactly do you need it to do? Third, the rules. These are your constraints, like telling it to keep core vocabulary the same. And finally, the format. How do you want the output presented? Like a clear table or maybe a bulleted list?
Just listen to the difference here. Vague inputs give you generic junk. Telling it to plan a math lesson completely fails the test. But listen to the second example. It passes with flying colors because it provides the exact standard code 4NF.A.1, the grade level, specific constraints like using paper strips, and an activity format with an exit ticket at 2 reading levels. Context-rich inputs give you highly specific, usable lesson materials that only require a few minutes of tweaking rather than hours of rewriting from scratch.
Moving right along to Section 2, setting objectives and standards. This is the foundation of your lesson. Now that we know how to prompt, let's start step 1 of our blueprint, deciding what you actually want your students to learn today.
AI performs best when you feed it the actual realities of your room. You'll want to include the student proficiency level, like their CE4 level, and actionable goals using Bloom's taxonomy. But you also need to feed it your everyday realities. We're talking reading levels, IEP accommodations, language supports, or even that broken projector in the corner of your room. However, there is a massive, absolutely crucial rule here. Never, ever include any personally identifying student information. Protect their privacy, and always delete the chat once you've copied what you need.
Next up is Section 3, designing warm-ups and activities, where we structure the core lesson. With our foundation and objectives set, let's figure out the actual flow of our 45-minute class.
You can ask the AI to generate ideas along this really robust 6-step framework. You start by defining those SMART goals, then have the AI brainstorm a highly creative, interest-based hook to immediately grab your learner's attention. From there, it can draft reading texts or scripts for the input phase, create graphic organizers for scaffolding, design communicative pair work activities for practice, and finally, generate formative quizzes to check their understanding.
So the really crucial point here is understanding the division of labor in a classic presentation, practice, production, or PPP model. Notice what the AI does. It drafts the model texts, produces the differentiated worksheets, and suggests task variants. But look at your role, the teacher's role. You are the one highlighting the target language, running the controlled activities, and actively monitoring the classroom dynamics. You are always the human in the loop.
Which perfectly brings us to Section 4, differentiating for every learner. This is where we unlock AI's superpower. Now we get to apply what is arguably AI's absolute best feature, the ability to instantly adapt materials so every single learner is brought into the conversation.
We all know teachers spend hours and hours differentiating content, Well, with a single follow-up prompt, you can ask the AI to take your core reading text and create 3-tiered versions, one with shortened sentences for struggling readers, one perfectly on level, and one with critical thinking extensions for your advanced students. That keeps the rigor high for everyone. You can even prompt the AI to generate bilingual vocabulary cards or ask for specific lesson adjustments to support learners with ADHD or autism. It makes your classroom incredibly inclusive in just a fraction of the time.
Let's look at Section 5, Assessment and Teacher Reflection, Closing the Pedagogical Loop. You obviously need to know if today's lesson actually worked, so let's have the AI help us build out our formative assessments.
Now pay attention to this golden rule for using AI to draft grading rubrics. When it comes to grading, AI cannot judge internal traits like a student's effort or their understanding. It absolutely needs observable behavioral instructions to function properly. You have to write criteria about the work itself. For example, defines the term in their own words and not about the student.
You can ask the AI to instantly generate a 5-item exit ticket that is perfectly aligned with your standard, or a rubric with precise descriptors for every single grade level. But get this, the AI isn't just for student assessment. You can actually use it as your own personal Socratic mentor after class. You can prompt it to guide you through Gibbs' reflective cycle, having it ask you questions one by one to help you objectively reflect on your teaching and log what needs tweaking for next time. It's a real game changer.
Finally, we reach Section 6. The human in the loop. Let's talk about ethics and professional judgment, and why your role as the human architect is more important now than it has ever been. Take a look at this framework from Teach AI. It outlines 7 key principles for educators, really grounding us in the necessity of maintaining academic integrity, compliance with privacy policies, and most importantly, ultimate human agency. Remember, AI doesn't actually know things, it just predicts words. It can easily make mistakes or hallucinate information, which is exactly why your critical eye is completely non-negotiable. And that brings us to our core philosophy for all of this. AI content is a draft, period. It is not a finished product. You must always review it for cultural nuance and local context. You have to make sure the activities foster authentic communication, not just passive rote memorization. The AI provides the raw structure, sure, but you, the teacher, you provide the professional judgment, the cultural nuance, the soul, and the relationship with your students. By adopting this 45-minute lesson blueprint and becoming a true architect of learning, you get to step out of that exhausting role of endless content creation. You reclaim your time, your energy, and hopefully your passion for teaching. Which leaves us with one final, absolutely fantastic question for you to answer. What will you do with the 10 hours AI gives back to you?